in the upper right. The aforementioned French Protoss, he is for Root Gaming, DnS.
And the bottom left-hand corner. Unfortunately, he is eliminated, but he can absolutely play spoil sport to the chances of his opponent from CSO Esports. It's YoungYakov. And that's a very early pool.
It's an early gas, too. I think this was gas pool, even. So, you know, YoungYakov, he may be thinking that, look, my chances of advancing this group are over. Let me do something crazy. But YoungYakov has always been a crazy player anyways. He loves his proxy hatches. He loves his Ling Floods. He loves things like that, as we were talking about the other day. But the thing is, YoungYakov still has things to fight for. If he finishes in 7th place for Zaith, we were talking about that with Group A, you make more money. You do have the opportunity to go and actually increase your prize pool a little bit, have that moral victory of not finishing last place in your group. So we're going to have to see what exactly YoungYakov is able to do with this one. He's not mining that much more gas, I don't think. Yeah, well, no, I'm sorry. No, he is. He stayed in 3-on-3 after this. I can't imagine this is for a Baneling bust, Titan.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Mr. YoungYakov, but of course, I mean, if he wasn't going to be using any more gas past the speed, you would pull off at this point because you want the mineral production to just use to a Ling Flood potentially. DnS did of course scout it out with his probe, went across the map to deny the natural nexus, and there's our answer. It is going to be the Roachworn alongside the Ling speed. So this is going to be a very committed all-in here.
An all-in that DnS at least has some inkling of. He saw that this was an early pool. He saw that how delayed the natural was, and in response he says, okay, Stargate is a fantastic catch-all opportunity to hold off a lot of this early aggression, and generally I like it. You get some Void Rays out, you get some Oracles out to really deal with Lings, and you will be fine. The trick now for DnS is figuring out what exactly YoungYakov is going for, right? Does he need to wall the front? Is this going to be a Nidus play of some sorts? The Dark has been playing a Queenling Nidus to terrifying effect. Is this a roach push at the front with some Ravagers where you need staggered pylons and more shield batteries and maybe more Void Rays than Oracles, whatever? You need to figure out what exactly you're dealing with so you can defend it appropriately. But for now, DnS is just battening down the hatches. Oracles are on the way. And again, solid catch-all defensive units.
Yeah, obviously, I think you'd probably like to see the Void Ray in this position, but DnS not knowing exactly what is coming across the map is getting that Oracle. It will still be very, very useful, as now the Roaches are going to begin their march. And it's 18 drones here for YoungYakov. He needs to win the game, or at least get some serious damage, but it's a full wall at the front. It is just a depth, so the Roaches will do quite well against that, and you can potentially try and knock it down, but immediately the rewall is going to come through here for DnS, and he's just absolutely ready for this. Even saves that adept in the wall, but gets a cancel there, and is actually just going to be able to push it on in. That's going to be the shield battery under fire. The Oracle is trying to get through these units, but it's going to run out of energy quite quickly.
That single bile knocking things down here. Roaches, Lings, they find their way in. Oracle still, it's got a little bit of energy here, and the second one does arrive, so it looks like it's going to be 7-8 workers. Eventually, the Oracles may be able to deal with this, but we only just now have Warp Gate finishing up. The pylons are starting to fall. DnS, he's not in danger of being supply blocked just yet, but that's only because he made literal metric tons of pylons to try to keep himself alive as the biles continue to land. Second shield battery is here, and this should be the end of it for now at the very least. Ravager Lings in the main base, but that was 12 workers going down and maybe even more here as the probes get pulled into the natural. More and more Lings come spilling on it. It looks like the rewall was not successful. Oh, Zealot's not on hold position. That's a bit of a problem. So we're going to see more pylons continue to fall. It's one base mining from DnS right now, so certainly no more units out of that Stargate. And yeah, I don't know that YoungYakov gets too much more through the wall at this point, but certainly he is in a fantastic position in this game. DnS, he's got to find a comeback now.
Yeah, it got the damage done that he needed, knocks the Protoss down to 19 workers, and behind this, you're droning back up as the Zerg, up to 28 drones, Queens added on for both bases. And as you said, the rewall didn't come through, the Zealot wasn't on hold position, so so many more Lings ended up streaming through that wall, getting so much more damage than I think DnS would have liked. And again, 2 oracles, they were good, but they ran out of energy. And that was really the big deal. Not having that Void Ray for defense means that now DnS is playing from behind, and now he's got to try and find a way back into this game. Of course, he does still have the oracles. He has the Void Ray as well, so he will have some harassment options himself. But Spore Crawlers are already up for YoungYakov, and oh, gets that 1 oracle so very low.
So very low, but not low enough. It survives. 2 workers go down, and I mean, that's something. The worker count actually for DnS not terrible in comparison to YoungYakov. Of course, the Zerg player never really starts to pull ahead even in a standard game in droning until you do have that 3 base saturation. You are injecting 3 at a time. But DnS, he's kind of taking a page from Hero's Book. It is super delayed, but he is getting that 3rd oracle here, which means you're going to have 1 defensively. You're still going to have 1 tap potential with your oracles on the other side of the map. 3rd base coming up eventually for the French Frodas player. And now we're just going to have to see where YoungYakov really wants to take this game. He's got a lair on the way. We're not seeing too many ideas of any further tech. Certainly no Evo chambers, no Baling Nest, nothing like that. But I worry that we're just going to see a massive swell of units in the next 2-3 minutes that DnS is just not going to have the tempo really to deal with.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice cancel there on the Spore Crawler trick. Make sure that he saves that drone. 2 do go down to the oracles in the main base, but aside from that, YoungYakov doing a great job of avoiding any damage that these area units can potentially inflict onto him. With the 3 oracles now around, DnS of course will pretty much have agency to defend any of his bases. Also with the Stasis Wards and the Revelations, keep tabs on where the Zerg is, as he's going to be heading into Blink. So yeah, this is very much going to be that hero style, as it's going to be that mass gateway transition. But as I said, for YoungYakov, what is the game plan right now? It's just drones. 3 bases. He's going to be getting up to full saturation. And then from this, it looks like it might, as I said, just be another swell of units, potentially more roaches. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we end up seeing a Nidus in this game state.
Well, I don't know that we see Nidus here necessarily. Normally, if that's what you were going for as YoungYakov, you would get it right as the lair does complete. But he's got +1 melee on the way, so Roach Ravager Lingbane is going to be most likely the tech path of choice here. Just, again, looking to slam and eventually get to +2, start to annihilate worker lines. And, well, I mean, as you said, DnS here, he's going for that hero style. That does give him a lot of scouting information with these oracles, with the stalkers active on the map. But it's still going to be a little bit of a time before he's able to actually make that one happen. He needs Blink to be done. Most importantly, he needs +1 on those stalkers to complete. And in a game where YoungYakov is going to be first to the point with Ling upgrades, these stalkers are not going to be nearly as effective as DnS would like them to be because, again, Lings just do very well. So we're going to see a first move out from DnS right now, looking to time it out eventually with Blink finishing. And YoungYakov, well, his army supply is actually not all that impressive right now. He is actually 0 roaches, only 28 Lings because he's been droning pretty damn hard. A couple Ravagers joining the fray now. But we're going to have to see just how much damage DnS can get done before YoungYakov really is prepared.
Morling's going to be in that production tab, as the Queens are a very good defensive tool, but this 4th base is going to be under fire, and that is not a lot of Lings to help defend it. You see Stasis Ward there to try and keep the Lings off of these Stalkers, and it does a great job. Can capture a lot of those Zerg units inside of the Stasis, and they're not going to be available for quite a while as the Blink back's starting to come through. The base does have to be canceled. Another Stasis Ward triggered just by a few Lings, and actually is going to end up saving these Zerglings from dying. And make sure that YoungYakov doesn't take too many more losses.
And Titan, do you like force fields? I like force fields. That's because that Stasis Trap, absolutely a force field there. I got like 30 Lings and just said, yeah, here you go. You're not passing by here. The Stalkers got a fantastic concave as they continue to run on forward, and that is one of the benefits of this Mass Oracle style. You're able to get massive Stasis Traps like that one once again. Really nothing is able to spill through past that. So DnS, yes, he's down in army supply a little bit, but not in a way that truly matters because, again, so many of that army supply, it's trapped. It can't do anything. But behind this YoungYakov, he has a Spire on the way. He's got some Dropper Lords getting prepped up here. Where is that Dropper Lord? Yeah, over the right side. So we're going to look to maybe run some Lings in eventually. +2 is on the way. But Dropper Lords without Overlord speed, they take a while to get where they want to be, Titan.
Yeah, I mean, especially without the Overlord speed, it's a slow boy. It's going to take a while, but eventually the Lings will get there, and by then maybe DnS will still be attacking. A Stasis Trap is going to be denied. Very, very good Corrosive Bile to keep that away. But I think the real issue is YoungYakov at this point, you're just trying to match in the army. And behind this, DnS is just macroing up as much as he would like. It's a 4th base that's already saturated for the Protoss, sitting at 78 workers. And the Zerg is just trying to hold on, make sure that they don't take too much damage, and they're able to stop the Protoss advances. This is going to be a nice angle, but again, the stasis traps home. They just, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
That is actually, I mean, I hesitate to say it because I'm sure I've seen bigger, but that is one of the bigger stasis traps I've seen. On the other side of the map, run-bys are not getting all that much done. Your Stalkers running on forward. Their goal is the Queens. If they can knock them down, that is going to be the most wonderful thing. And YoungYakov, he's gone for some mutas here, but mutas, when there is significant aggression from these Blink Stalkers on the map, is always a terrifying thing. So the Stalkers, they're in that 4th base, knocking down some Queens, and there's the rest of the army supply. I was looking for it. That is, what, 20 Zealots? Yeah, 19 Zealots finding their way on into the natural. Mutas are on the other side of the map, of course, but these Stalkers are doing literal tons. The Zealots are just corralling the Roaches into a fight with the Stalkers. They blink on top of them. They say, oh, thank you, my Zealot friends. Yeah, I'll take that gift. There we go. Queen's starting to fall to the Oracles as well. DnS, the start of this game was maybe not the best thing, but he's starting to snowball this supply in this game. He's starting to snowball his position in this game as it looks like that 4th base. He's not even going to target it down. He says, yeah, let me kill the workers. That's the most important thing. Let me kill these Queens. The Roaches, they move in, but the Stalkers to blink out. They say, okay, mutas are my friends now, and we're going to kill those one off as more and more Stalkers join the fray here. Titan, it's becoming a problem for YoungYakov in this game.
It's 11 gateways right now, just warping in, constantly reinforcing, and you add on the Mutalisks, but there's already Blink Stalkers out. These Mutas, they don't have any upgrades. It's just so late to try and get into them. I think really, it's just not the best tech choice. And you see, this army is slowly falling apart. YoungYakov, his chances in this game are slowly falling apart as the corrosive bile dodges are honestly beautiful here from DnS. Playing with his food a little bit. He knows he's won the game. The Mutas, they're going to try and get some damage, but they will be shut down as well in the main base. And we just see how strong this new style of Protoss is. The DnS is going to pick up game number 1.
I don't even know if we want to call it the new style of Protoss. Right? Because, like, we saw similar things. I think the triple I think we could safely say the heavy pressure idea triple Oracle. It certainly is exciting. It is a lot more fun than let me go. I'm going to turtle to sky toss. Woo! You know, it's much more dynamic, and it does feel like the skill cap is a lot higher there. We are starting to see much more expressions of skill from Protoss players. So we can see that Hero is much better than I don't know, a Nightmare or something. It's not just in the results of, well, okay, Trap won a game, and Nightmare probably wouldn't, but we can see in the game itself, the Blink Micro, the map control, the ability to move players around and to mess with their ideas. It is a greater expression of skill, and I don't know, Titan, but to me, that's a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to sum it up is I was talking with Brian on the Tuesday broadcast, Double DB Choi, of course, good friends with a lot of the pros in Korea. And he was talking about how in the PvZ now, with the nerfs to the Void Ray, he was talking with Hero, who said that it actually forced him to explore new ways to approach the game and to actually get better and not to rely on this one unit that was just a catch-all for all of its issues. And that's why we've seen, I think, Hero suddenly blossom forward. His micro is really being allowed to be expressed. And I think that's what these new changes are going to allow. And I hope that it keeps going in this direction with further patches.
Oh, I agree. I mean, we don't always get it. Sometimes we do see players reverting to that old style. But for the first time in a while, PvZ is something I'm actually enjoying watching, which is, I don't know, it's nice. It's a wonderful thing to experience here. As someone who casts StarCraft, I can enjoy every matchup now. But folks, Blackburn is our second game of this series. The DnS, he was in a hole game 1, but he brought it back. Does that mean he's going to 2-0? Well, we're going to find out. In the bottom right, he's up 1 now. He is for Road Gaming, trying to make it 2. He is DnS.
And you got the damage with that pseudo all-in. Eventually got enough to transition out, but it wasn't enough to win him the game. We're going to see if he can still try and play spoil sport here. From CSO, it's YoungYakov. And we're on to Blackburn. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume that we're not going to see any sort of attempted all-in on that natural base to the Protoss.
I don't know, man. Nidus is good. Maybe.
That is true. You mentioned, of course, Dark in that first game with how aggressive he's been playing and cheesy. And yeah, it's really, I mean, if you've been watching any coverage of the ESL Open Cups, it's quite frankly ridiculous that Dark is so good at all facets of the game and then just comes in against the best players and says, actually, I'm just going to beat you in, 4 minutes because I can.
Did you see the Dark Bjorn series from this Saturday night?
Don't even talk to me about that.
13-minute best of 5. Bjorn lost a game in under 2 minutes.
Disgusting. And I think it's honestly good though. Like I think that Dark as a player is so good for the Zerg meta because he is constantly able to mix in different levels of aggression and show that you don't have to play like Serral to win. You can still, there's a lot of expression in Zerg in how you can try and take over games and beat your opponent.
Absolutely, and it's funny because Dark he's always been one of these players that can do more than anyone else with low drone counts. But when we think of Zerg players that really do insane things at a high level, we think of Rogue. We think of the man who, back in the day in Pro League, he was the only one that used Baneling drops when it was a upgrade that you would get for all of your overlords at once. He Baneling dropped Hero into a loss. I mean, really cool stuff. And even still, I mean, he is one of those players that just ruins a series for us because we don't get to do what we want, right? We just get to see him smash someone. So it's interesting to almost see Rogue's influence rub off on Dark. But Titan, as much as I want to talk about all these other players, Dark is not playing in this game. Bjorn is not playing in this game. Rogue is not playing in this game. They're playing in an entirely different region. We're looking at YoungYakov DnS. But we don't really see much of anything at this point. Second Oracle is on the way. We're going to have to see if he goes up to 3. And it looks like he will just play that standard style as Oracle flies in. There's not a Spore yet. There it is. And one worker kill. You're looking for a little bit more if you're DnS.
Yeah, the control wasn't quite there. He got 2 drones to half health and didn't actually focus them down properly. Takes a lot of hull damage onto that Oracle, which is never what exactly you want. And I think the main reason why I brought up Dark is because YoungYakov obviously is a player who loves to play aggressive. He loves to get out on the map and to be proactive. And I think when you're looking at proactivity, I think that Dark is one of the best examples of how to do that in the early to late game. And I think we saw that. I think the opening in the last game was great for YoungYakov. It's just the transition was where things didn't really come together as he needed. I think he didn't drone up as quickly as he probably should have. There was a good portion of time where he had Lings in the main, got the damage, and then still produced a little bit more, but didn't end up going across the map with them. And it could have been, 8 more drones.
That it could have been, or you can just say that, hey, he didn't get quite enough damage in that all-in, and he was kind of behind from there, even if it did feel like he got enough at the time. But for now, triple oracles are on the map. It's interesting to see DnS not keeping one at his third base. Normally, that's what you do to keep it safe. But we have a Ling Bane all-in coming in from YoungYakov. I saw the Baneling nest and I said, yeah, okay, he's just going to go for, Road Ravager Ling Bane. But here come the Banes into the natural. We're going to have to see a rewall. Oracles, they need to kill these Banes. They need to find them, and they're going to find the ones that are not in the wall. Oh, the Adept stays alive just barely. We don't have any shield batteries here, though. That's a big problem. Now we're going to see the Banelings look to show up, but the force fields last second there, fantastic. It looks like this third base may still fall Titan, but this could be a lot worse as the Oracles, they continue to shoo these Zerglings away. If this third base falls, it's going to take a long time. All the Lings, they fall in the dirt, and YoungYakov, his attempts in this game, they have been thwarted before they even truly got off the ground.
I mean, you get what? That's 2 sentries, 2 adepts, and a gateway for 37 lings and 4 drones. That, I mean, DnS, just the instant reaction, as good as he could possibly have wanted. The rewall, and then also builds the shield battery in the third base to provide another choke point for those lings. And YoungYakov, he tried to spring the trap. It completely backfires. Now you're down, I mean, 62 workers to 46. That's never a position that the Zerg wants to be. He's going to try and he's going to be able to get on top of these sentries. The force fields, though, come through once again. And DnS, man, he's playing well this series.
Yep, denial of network service. In fact, the network is the overmind and service is Zerg winning this game or something. We're going to stop. We're going to stop with that one. But 1-1 melee on the way. YoungYakov trying to eventually lean into this style that actually Ratata has been showing us a little bit, where it is just pure Ling Bane. And you say, I'm going to have a lot of bases. I built a lot of lings, a lot of Banes, and I come crashing into you from every side. And it does. I've seen it beat double Robo Colossus. But this is a game where YoungYakov has tried his all-in twice. It has found just about no value. Yeah, sure, maybe it's delayed the push from DnS by forcing out all those force fields. But, I mean, there's only so much this delay helps YoungYakov. It also allows DnS the time to build more and more and more stuff. And now here he is a little bit active on the map right now, looking to move across. We got a Warp Prism with this army. No charge. Blink is done, though. Blink and +1. So DnS, he is already in that hero style. He's already in the suppression mode of this game. And it's a game where YoungYakov, again, his tech, his economy, everything he wants, yields deer, is just not there.
Yeah, I mean, these Banes are going to look for a run by, but I believe it was scouted there by the Oracle. There's already a cannon in position as well, so even if it gets into that base, Oracle is here, cannon is here. That's not going to get any damage as the hatchery is now under fire. YoungYakov, I mean, you're going to need to at least try and set up a surround or something, but he just doesn't have the link out. He's only sitting at 42 Zerglings, and it sounds like a lot, but in the actual efficiency game, they're not going to be able to get that much value against these +1 Blink Stalkers with the sentries as well.
I mean, I think you mean a Waddlebite Titan on fire, because those Banes did not have speed just yet. Queens are trying to do what they can to knock things down, but these +1 Blink Stalkers are mighty fine here. Oh man, DNS's Stasis Traps this series have been a thing of beauty. So the Stalkers really only continuing to fight the Queens, the Lings, where all the upgrades are, where all the gas that DnS has been going for has been spent. Well, they're not really there. Force fields, I'm actually not sure what that one was for, maybe to keep the Queens back. But the fourth base, not yet dead. It's very low, not allowed to mine. Stalkers are going to just go, there we go. Surround all of these Lings, lock them in the Thunderdome, and, well, they're all dead now. +2, halfway done. Charge on the way for DnS as well. He's going to be able to morph in just as many Lings as he would like as he moves up to 12 gateways once again. The production of this man, simply unsurpassed.
And we see a run by attempted here, but there's a cannon, there's a shield battery. Eventually they will both go down. These are +1/+1 Lings, so they will be able to at least force an evacuation of the gold base. But YoungYakov has lost his own hatchery. He's now going to be under fire at the new fort. Is that Stasis Sword not going to be able to get that much value? The Lings trying their hardest to fight this, but it's soon going to be +2 Blink Stalkers. And well, right now, I think YoungYakov wished that he had those Ultralists in captivity on this map, but even those would not be able to save him because DnS is just barreling down on this Zerg. Sure, this army might not be able to end the game, but you're going to trade out enough that the next wave will be able to.
You don't want to lose the... Oh, I was going to say, you don't want to take shots from the Biles, but DnS, well, he says, look, it was a gift. You're welcome. I want to make this game... I want you to feel less bad about this game than I'm about to take from you, so yeah. Here, enjoy the Bile. Zealot's looking to run into the natural. Smaller run by than DnS hit YoungYakov with in that last game. It's only 10 Zealots. It's not 20, but that's just because the arm on the left side is that much stronger. The fourth base, it has been properly zoned out. YoungYakov not really able to make much happen. More and more units rallying across the Oracles. They feel safe defensively so they can get aggressive here. Zealots continue to find positive trades. The Stalkers, they blink in. They say, this is the time now. This is the channel to knock YoungYakov down. That's it, folks. DnS, his life remains not quite in his hands, but a little bit more as he takes